This ball is crushed. Man, what a shot. Our step back three on the way. Oh, it banks in.
Welcome in. This is the Brothers and Ball podcast. We have the NFL Draft edition of the Brothers and Ball podcast here for you this week. And we have special guest Bobby Thompson from Grunt Talk Sports coming up in about 15 minutes. NFL insider. He writes for Fansided. We're really, really excited to dissect his brain about the draft. Looking forward to it. This is one of the most exciting weeks of the year for people like me and Mike. But Mike, how are you doing today, man?
Doing good. Excited for tomorrow. It's been a long wait, and I'm ready to dive in here. Let's get to it.
Hell yeah. So in addition to Bobby Thompson, shortly after that, we're going to go through our mock draft for, maybe half the first round, and we'll compare what we have there and talk about what we expect for the draft on Thursday night. But before we can get into all that, we have to talk about some headlines before we predict the draft itself. San Francisco has made a decision to start this week. They have committed to one of two quarterbacks, and neither of them are Justin Fields. One is Mac Jones, and the other is Trey Lance. So this was a bit surprising. It blindsided some people, but we saw the writing on the wall with Fields a bit. I want you guys to listen to the audio from Kyle Shanahan this week in his press conference. Him and John Lynch got up on the microphone, and they told them a little bit about their plan for Thursday. So let's listen to that.
I can't guarantee that anybody in the world will be alive Sunday, so I can't guarantee who will be on our roster on Sunday. So that goes for all of us. Second of all, now I've already forgot your second one. What was it? Oh, yeah, why is it 50-50?
Yeah.
Because this is a very hard position to play. Why are pass rushers 50-50? Why are a lot of people in the top 10, almost everybody 50-50? Because the NFL is a very tough league. And then you add in a quarterback that has so much more to do with being, you got to be so elite in so many different areas to make it at this level. And I promise you there aren't 32 that come out every year. If you look back in drafts, there's anywhere from 1 to 5 and sometimes 0. It's not easy to come into this league. Look at it the same with pass rushers. Look at it at every position. So it's all like this. This is why the draft is tough. But it's the quarterback, pass rushers, those are usually the hardest positions to get. And that's why you do, I think, see people take those chances the most early in the drafts, because if you do want to get one of those type of players, they're a lot harder to find later.
All right, so that's some really shocking stuff from Kyle Shanahan to come out and, play it coy as he always does. But the way that he was so non-committal and he was saying that he was okay with staying at 12 because he has 5 guys that he likes. So there's a lot of things that are there to unpack, Mike. You tell me what Kyle Shanahan really said during that press conference.
All right, so there's two things that stuck out. Number one is, you just brought it up, is the non-committal stuff to Jimmy Garoppolo. We all know he's taking a quarterback at 3, but I feel like we all had this notion in our mind that they were going to stick with Jimmy G and kind of use him as a bridge to the next quarterback. And with the way he's talking, it doesn't seem like that. So I'd be shocked if Garoppolo is even with the Niners to start the season. That's the first thing that jumped out to me. The second thing is I think Kyle Shanahan, for the first time at the podium, he looked uncomfortable, and I haven't seen him like that in a long time. Everyone talks about him as one of these young and upcoming coaches. He always says and does the right things. And it just felt like he was a little out of place there. And that was shocking to me. So we'll see. We'll see what teams are in play. I think Garoppolo's on the move here, though, pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's fair to say. I think the non-committal stuff to Jimmy G was so telling. By saying nothing, you're saying something. And the other thing about this whole thing, this whole entire, from when we first covered the trade happening where San Francisco moved up to 3. You have to have a guy in mind. And, Kyle's bouncing around. Maybe I know a guy, maybe I don't. Maybe I want to select this person, maybe I don't. You knew what you were doing when you traded for the 3rd pick. Maybe you sold it to John Lynch and said, it could be Lance, it could be Jones. But in the back of Kyle Shanahan's mind, he knew who he wanted this whole time. And that's another thing. Another underlying story here is that between the front office and between Kyle Shanahan, there's reports that Shanahan wants Jones, the front office wants Lance. So I think you and me both agree that the upside is there with Lance as opposed to what's there with Jones. But we've seen Shanahan have success with someone like Matt Ryan, who's more of the Mac Jones type. So kind of tell me about that. What's with the conflicting stories there?
So with me thinking Garoppolo's gone, you can't take Trey Lance and throw him in right away. That's not going to work. He's a guy that I think has to sit and watch. Mac Jones, I'm obviously not a huge fan of Mac Jones. I don't like the slander that he gets, though. Everyone says, oh, well, he played with, Waddle and Smith, and he had Najee Harris and the best offensive line in the country. I mean, it doesn't matter. He still has to make throws, and he made all the throws. I don't think he's going to be, the best quarterback, but I do think you'll be able to win with him. So, obviously, like I said, I don't think he's a top-tier quarterback in the league when he's at his peak, but I do think he's someone you can win with. Like you mentioned, Matt Ryan. I think I saw it on First Things First this morning. They said his ceiling was Matt Ryan and his basement was, I think it was Jared Goff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think someone said Trey Lance. I think they said his ceiling was Donovan McNabb. So, those sound about right. I mean, if you get Mac Jones in Kyle Shanahan's system and he's playing like Matt Ryan for 10, 12 years, I think that's a win. If that's your guy that you like at 3, you go get him. It's that simple.
Yeah. That's definitely how it seems, and that's definitely what it sounds like coming out of Kyle Shanahan's mouth. The one more thing I want to note about Mac Jones is that we saw Joe Burrow end up being the number 1 pick, climb from that mid-round, you didn't know what he was, to being at the top of the draft, a great prospect. And he played with who? Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Right.
Nobody knocked
Loaded.
Joe Burrow for that. We put him
That's
on a
right.
pedestal
And his
and said
offensive
that
line,
season's incredible.
his offensive line got ranked the number 1 that year as well. So you're right.
Right. And won the national title. Like they ran through it. So I don't want to say that he has good teammates and he's not a good quarterback for that reason. I don't think that's a legitimate argument at all. But
yeah, and just real quick,
yeah.
just to wrap this up real quick, if you look at his numbers, they're better than Zach Wilson, they're better than Trey Lance, they're better than Trevor Lawrence, and they're better than Justin Fields. So he's, if that's our guy, that's who it is.
How much value do you put into what actually came on the field? Because he was outstanding this season on all fronts. So
I mean, it matters. It matters.
Yeah.
I like I said, I don't know if I would take him at 3, but I also wouldn't take Zach Wilson at 2. So I don't know. What do I know?
You can make fun of Mac Jones's 40 time and the way he runs all you want, but my man's gonna get a payday. But I do want to transition. There was some big news ahead of the draft as well. Denver making a move for a quarterback. They make a deal with Carolina, and this is for Teddy Bridgewater. Denver surrenders a 6th-round pick to bring in Bridgewater. So I know you and me are on opposing sides here. Why? You tell me, why did Denver go make this deal for Teddy Bridgewater?
Okay. We were texting back and forth today when this happened.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we're on opposite sides. You don't go get Teddy Bridgewater for any other reason other than the fact that you don't believe in Drew Lock. You do not go get him. To me, Bridgewater is going to start unless they draft a quarterback 1st round. I think they're done with Lock in Denver. And when they said a couple of weeks ago, that they were open to maybe trading up to get somebody, to me, if you're open to doing that, you're not locked in on your quarterback. So Drew Lock, I think he's done in Denver. I think he's probably going to be on the move. We'll see in the mocks later. I have Denver taking a quarterback, and we'll see. I think the quarterback's going to be Justin Fields. Obviously we don't have any trades in our mocks, but Justin Fields paired with Teddy Bridgewater, I think is a pretty good combination. Bridgewater, the ultimate pro, Justin Fields, you know what I mean? He's that guy for them going forward. But I think it's done for Drew Lock, and I don't think he takes another snap in Denver.
All right, so your premise, you're right. You get Teddy Bridgewater because you don't believe in Drew Lock. That is 100% correct. But where we hit the fork in the road here, where I go the right way and you go the wrong way, as it always happens.
Come on.
You get Teddy Bridgewater as insurance in case Drew Lock is really that bad. You have to let him have another chance to be a starting quarterback for your team. Last season, it was very, very hectic in Denver. You have all the weapons that you need in place. It's a tough division. And at 8th, this more so than just believing in Drew Lock or trying to give Drew Lock another chance, this tells me that you don't think you're going to be able to get your guy at 8, or you can make a power play with the 8th pick and give it to someone who's willing to overpay. And you can continue to surround Drew Lock / Teddy Bridgewater with whoever you need. And if they bottom out this year, they bottom out. Teddy Bridgewater's not going to win you 10, 12 games, and probably neither is Drew Lock. But you have to figure it out. You have to see it all the way through.
What more do you need to see from Drew Lock? The guy has every weapon in the book. He had 2 Pro Bowl running backs on his team.
Okay.
Right? Lindsey has been a Pro Bowler, and Melvin Gordon is an All-Pro. So, what more does he need? He had an average offensive line. What more does he need?
It's in the same type of realm of thought as Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's numbers weren't there, but you watch Drew Lock play, you watch Sam Darnold play, and they make plays. You can see the talents there. I mean, Bridgewater is the exact opposite of Lock. So you can just put them together, and maybe Drew can learn from Teddy.
Drew Lock is not even in the same sentence as Sam Darnold when it comes to arm talent and just playmaking ability. I've seen enough from Drew Lock. He's had way more weapons than Sam Darnold's had. Way more.
That's fine. Weapons is one thing, but I'm telling you that Lock has that ability, and I don't think they're ready to give up on him yet. So I think that the trade means, yeah, you have Bridgewater in case Drew Lock crashes and burns, but you're not going to draft a rookie, move Lock at the lowest possible value he's going to have for nothing. I just think that you have to see it through with Drew Lock before you call it a quits here. Bridgewater is the secure in case we're still competing, but we can't stick with Drew Lock anymore because of the turnovers, one thing or another. Because Bridgewater is going to keep you even keel as a team, but he's not going to take you to the promised land.
I'm telling you right now, if I'm Vic Fangio and I'm starting Drew Lock, I have to go look to be a defensive coordinator somewhere because I'm getting fired. I'm getting fired for putting my job on the line with Drew Lock. I'm telling you right now.
I don't see it that way. I just don't see it that way. But, it is what it is with that. That's a crucial deal ahead of the draft, like I said, because now I think we can – you still have Denver taking a quarterback. I think they're completely out of that market. I know we're not doing trades in the mock, as we said, but I see Denver trading that pick because it'll be the last spot for someone to snag either Fields or Lance, whichever one is the last one available at that point. But we're going to hit a quick break. And then ahead of that, or behind that rather, is going to be Bobby Thompson to break down the draft and give us some insight. And this is the Brothers in Ball podcast. Please keep it locked. All right, welcome back. It is the Brothers in Ball podcast. We are very fortunate to have NFL writer and reporter Bobby Thompson joining us here ahead of the draft. We got some really great draft topics to discuss. And Bobby, you're with Grunt Talk Sports, and you also write for Fansided. So we really appreciate you having you on.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you so much for having me on excited. Talk anytime we get to talk football, I'll do that with anybody, guys. So I'm excited. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So I do want to jump right into it because we do have a lot to cover here. And as far as the most latest news, it's been with Kyle Shanahan going in front of the media, being very non-committal to Jimmy G. He said he likes 5 guys at the 3rd pick. And now, basically, what my question is for you: what do you expect from the Niners with the 3rd pick, based on these comments?
Well, first off, when he said he likes 5 guys, if I was at the press conference, I would ask him if he likes the burgers and fries too. So, yeah, with Kyle Shanahan, you never know what's going to happen. But I'm going to tell you this, guys. It's going to be Mac Jones. I think that the writing was on the wall a few weeks ago. He is a guy that they love. They feel he's pro-ready. And I'm going to tell you something. Mac Jones is in a system in Alabama that is pro-ready. And you saw the success he had. He not only did he have the best playmakers around, but he also made a lot of plays as well. He didn't turn the ball over a lot. Great footwork, great coordination, great arm. His arm isn't the strongest in this draft, but he's very smart. He doesn't turn it over, like I said. But this morning it was broken by Ian Rappaport that they're going to either go with Trey Lance or Mac Jones. It's going to be Mac Jones. The writing's been on the wall for weeks. In my opinion, I'll tell you this. I think that they're making a mistake passing on Justin Fields because I think that guy is special. But Mac Jones in that system with those type of weapons, it's perfect. And they're leaning, you know what? He said that the scouting department wants Trey Lance. But you know what? I think John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan definitely are. You guys still here?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Oh, sorry about that, guys.
No, you're good.
But it's going to be Mac Jones. Mac Jones is a guy they really like, as I said. And I will tell you this. He will start right away. He will start. And that's going to lead with Jimmy Garoppolo being traded, in my opinion. Because, listen, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to make $27 million sitting on the bench. Not going to happen. So teams that need a quarterback, a.k.a. the Patriots, keep an eye out for him. So
Wow. Well, real quick, you just mentioned Justin Fields. So what does that mean for him? How far do you think he drops? And what is the stigma around him? Why is he? It looks like he's going to be passed on these first 3 picks here. I don't know what's going on. Can you explain that a little bit?
Well, here's the thing with Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields isn't going to drop that far. I think he's not going to go in the top 3, in my opinion. I think he goes between 7 and 9. Keep an eye out for the Broncos and the Panthers. Now, with the Panthers, they just traded for Sam Darnold. Why in their mind would they go out and draft a quarterback? But you never know what's going to happen with them. They do like Justin Fields. And the Broncos are a team that is non-committal to Drew Lock. We've seen it that he's very inconsistent. They're going to be looking for a quarterback. So a team like the Patriots are going to try to move up to jump them to get Justin Fields. I don't think Justin Fields makes it into the teens. I think Justin Fields goes between 7 and 9, and that's what happens. He's definitely going to go there.
It's interesting stuff. Stuff. You've been all over this on Twitter, dropping news regarding Julio Jones and a possible Julio Jones trade with the Falcons. So that means the Falcons are linked to Kyle Pitts. I want you to explain what the Falcons will do at 4 and kind of explain what's going on with the Julio trade and why it's being put on hold at this time.
Well, here's the thing. Julio Jones is owed a lot of money. He's older. In my opinion, I don't think he's slowed down at all. I think the injuries have taken a toll on him. And inconsistent quarterback play is a real problem for Atlanta. Excuse me. But here's what I think. Here's the thing. I tweeted this today. Because of that June 1st rule, and you hear that with a lot of contracts, a lot of trades, June 1st, if they made this trade, give or take within the next few days, and it's before June 1st, obviously, they're going to take on a $23 million dead cap hit. This team can't afford that. This team doesn't have cap to begin with.
Right.
But if they go past June 1st, June 2nd, somebody wants them, they create $15 million in cap space. Makes a lot of sense, and it helps out everybody. Kyle Pitts at 4, to the Falcons makes too much sense. This team needs a tight end. Yes, they have Hayden Hurst. Obviously, Hayden Hurst is not even close to the type of player that Kyle Pitts can be. And let me tell you something, guys. Kyle Pitts and that offense is scary. So I think that I'm going to tell you guys this. I've heard a lot of teams. I think the Eagles are going to be involved with the Falcons for Julio. I know I'm a diehard Patriots fan. Not trying to sound like a homer. The Patriots will be involved. I think he's something that would be really intriguing to that team. But I will tell you this, guys, is the Falcons, you know what? Don't count them out with taking a quarterback, but I think Kyle Pitts is something that they just can't pass up. He's a once-in-a-lifetime generation player. He could do anything and everything. And listen, you trade away Julio, you get Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts could be lined up outside anyway. So you got and you're getting him at not even a fraction of the price, and you got him for the next 5 years. It's a win-win. And you know what? And we'll see what happens with what the Falcons could get for him. I don't think they could get a first-round pick. If someone pays a second, that's a lot. But, you know, for someone like Julio Jones, I take it. But I think a bunch of late-round picks for Julio Jones because the guy could still play. But it's going to be interesting to see. The draft is going to be interesting. And a few weeks after the draft, you will see a lot of movement with more players. Guarantee you that.
Wow. That's interesting right there. You mentioned draft. Let's get back to it. We just talked about the quarterbacks. How about the running backs? It looks like two are probably going to go in the first round, Etienne and Najee Harris. Who do you like?
Oh, I love Najee Harris. Najee Harris is tremendous. The guy can do it all. He can do everything. He can catch out of the backfield. He's a downhill runner. He can run to the outside. He's not one-dimensional. He can do many things for you. And like we said, he's in the pro-style offense. So he goes to any offense. He'll be just fine. Travis Etienne, in my opinion, I compared him in my draft notes to a Gio Bernard type of player. Now, I know Jets fans are wondering, you know, are you guys going to pick him at 23? In my final mock draft, I'll give you guys and your listeners a hint. I don't think you guys go running back here. I think you guys go corner because you guys literally desperately need a corner. I don't know why you guys didn't address this in free agency. You guys go get one of these young corners. But with Travis Etienne, I think he goes in early in the second round, but there's only going to be one running back in the first round, I feel, and it's Najee Harris, and I think you both could agree. He goes to Pittsburgh.
Wow.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot too, and I love Najee Harris. That would be a good pick for him.
Mm-hmm.
But
He's a great player.
you mentioned these Jets cornerbacks. So, you know, the Jets needing a cornerback. So there's Surtain, there's J.C. Horn, there's Greg Newsome, and there's Caleb Farley kind of lingering on the back end there.
Right.
Which one do you see as the top corner, and which one is a potential suitor, since you mentioned it, for the Jets?
Well, the top corner, in my opinion, is J.C. Horn. I think he's got shutdown mentality. I'm going to say this compared to Stephon Gilmore, and Stephon Gilmore went to South Carolina too, so they're both similar. But I have a really good friend, one of my best friends actually, who went to South Carolina, and he said J.C. Horn is better than Stephon Gilmore. So that says something.
Wow.
Patrick Surtain's in a pro-style defense. He's shut down as well. I think he goes 10 to Dallas. I think that's inevitable. J.C. Horn goes in 15. But for the Jets, keep an eye on Newsome. I think Newsome could be that guy for you guys. I really do. Caleb Farley has injury problems. I think Joe Douglas knows that. I don't think Joe Douglas takes a hit. I think Farley goes to New Orleans and tag teams with Marshawn Lattimore. But you guys with Newsome at 23, I think that's perfect. And also, here's some Jets news for you guys. Don't be surprised if you guys tried to trade up a bit to try to get one of these receivers too. Don't be surprised. Joe Douglas got some surprises up his sleeve, and I think you guys are going to be very happy with your draft.
Oh,
that's music to my ears.
Boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy.
Yeah, it's going to be something, man.
Wow. It's going to be exciting. All right, one more thing from me. No combine this year, right? So it's hard to evaluate these guys. We're watching these the pro days. Is there anybody that we're not talking about that you see sneaking into this first round?
Ooh, okay. That's a very, very good question. I like that. You know what? Keep an eye out on Zaven Collins, the linebacker out of Tulsa. I think he's very, very good. Keep an eye out on, Kadarius Toney. I'm huge on this guy. Kadarius Toney is an underrated. Yep, exactly. Underrated And you know what team he fits well? Ravens. Watch out for them too.
They have two first-round picks now.
Yeah, yes they do. Yes they do. And I may add that I think that the the Ravens are foolish for trading their best lineman to the biggest competitor in the AFC. Makes no sense. But you know what?
Yeah.
If I was paid that much money to make the trades, I definitely wouldn't have made that trade. I get the capital you got, but you can't do that. You just made your biggest competitor stronger. Makes no sense to me. But I will say this: Zaven Collins, Kadarius Toney, and you know what? Don't be surprised to see the Buccaneers take a quarterback. Because listen, my man Tom Brady down here, he can play till he's 90 years old, and there's nobody who loves Tom Brady more than this guy right here. So don't keep an eye out on Kyle Trask, and also a quarterback, guys, Kellen Mond. Watch out for Kellen Mond out of Texas A&M. He's going to be a hot commodity, and I could see a team that needs a quarterback at the end of the draft taking a flyer on him. So I'm going to go with Zaven Collins, Kadarius Toney, and Kellen Mond. Nobody's talking about Kellen Mond.
Wow.
Yeah. Those top 5 quarterbacks are getting so much press that, you forget that there's more than that and somebody could pop.
Oh, yeah.
You never know.
Absolutely.
But just to wrap it up here, Bobby, thanks so much. I do want to ask you about your Patriots for this year. What are they going to do at 15? Are they moving? What's Bill Belichick got up his sleeve?
Well, you never know what Dollar Bill always got something up his sleeve. So I'm going to tell you guys this. I think he trades up. You guys saw how aggressive he was in free agency. Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry, Judon, Aguilar, Bourne, the list goes on. Gottschall, the list goes on and on. I've never seen it as a Patriots fan. I love it to death. I want to see it every year. I think he trades up into the top 10. I'm going to go with 7 to Detroit because him and the Lions have some rapport, and he takes Justin Fields. I think that. But here's the second scenario. If they stay put, don't be surprised if they take J.C. Horn and tag team Gilmore with J.C. Horn. I think that's something. But for me, I want a quarterback, and I also want to see a receiver. And Kadarius Toney is a guy, I don't care if at 15, if that's a reach, I don't care. Take him at 15. I think that would be great. But I think Patriots ultimately are going to be very aggressive this draft, and they do go after Justin Fields. And you will see Zach Wilson and Justin Fields 2 times a year. Boy, is that box office, fellas.
Well,
yeah,
That's
that's
something
right.
else.
That's right.
That'll be something else.
Thanks again, Bobby. I really appreciate
Oh,
your
my
time.
pleasure, guys.
Excellent insight, man.
Yeah,
Of
thanks
course,
for joining us, Bob.
Of course, yeah. And are you guys from New Jersey, by the way?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Where are you guys from? Because I'm from New Jersey.
From Trenton area.
You
Mercer
guys are
County.
from. Okay, I'm from Bergen County. I'm from Oakland. So me and my podcast host, my best friend Julian Gallardi, big Jets fan. I'll be up to go to some Jets games if you guys are in the area. Let's meet up, bro. I'll keep in touch with you guys. This was fun. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah,
Of
absolutely.
course. Thanks again, Bobby Thompson, Grunt Talk Sports. And we're going to wrap it up here. Thanks for coming, Bobby. And it's the Brothers and Ball podcast. Welcome back. It is the Brothers and Ball podcast. Big thank you to Bobby Thompson for stopping by on our podcast. It's really cool to talk to somebody who's plugged in and in the industry. Mike, what was your biggest takeaway of what Bobby had to tell us about the draft? A lot of interesting stuff. So go ahead.
Yeah. Biggest thing is he locked in Mac Jones at 3. He said he would be completely shocked if he's not the 3rd pick in the draft. Like I said earlier, I wouldn't be surprised if he was a 3rd pick. But to say that that's the pick, he's basically saying the draft starts at pick 4. So that was my biggest takeaway.
Yeah. My biggest takeaway, obviously, just being a Jets fan, he said that the Jets are thinking about trading back in, or don't be surprised if the Jets trade back in ahead of 23 for someone that they might want. That makes me think if Devonte starts slipping, maybe the Jets jump on the Heisman winner and they get Zach Wilson an immediate downfield weapon like that. I mean, at that point, then you got to be happy with what New York's doing.
We'll see.
But a
Joe's
lot of great insight from him. Yeah, Joe's got to show me something. He's got to show me something. Tell me about it. Yeah. But this segment that we're going to do, every week it's a staple. Justified, Just Foolish. We have 3 topics each that we're going to propose to each other, 6 total topics. We're going to go back and forth, tell you whether it's justified or whether it's simply foolish. So, Mike, let me start with this statement. The New England Patriots, Bobby's team, are going to take a quarterback in the first round of the draft this year. Justified or just foolish?
That is justified. They're taking a quarterback. No matter how you slice it, you know, I look at my mock and we didn't do any trades, and I still have them getting a quarterback at 15. And I think they're a big candidate to move up in the draft and take a quarterback. So I say that's completely justified. Patriots will take a quarterback in the first round.
I'm going to go with just foolish. And the reason why is because I think Belichick is too headstrong on never taking a quarterback in the first round. It's been 20 years that he's been coaching and been doing this thing with the Patriots and not taking a quarterback in the first round. So my gut is that he ends up with Cam as his starter, and maybe brings in Jimmy G as the backup, but I don't even think that's likely at this point. I think he'll roll with Cam.
I was just gonna say the dark horse here is Jimmy Garoppolo. He could be the thing that messes this whole thing up. So we'll see. So for you, 5 quarterbacks, first 8 picks, justified, just foolish.
Again, it's just foolish. And the reason why we are seeing a massive change in how people are grading Justin Fields. Justin Fields has been at the top of his class since he's been in high school. Him and Trevor Lawrence were in high school in the same state, and the Gatorade Player of the Year was Justin Fields. So he is a player. He's always been a player. His play has never wavered besides one game in the conference championship last year. So he showed out in the semifinal for the national title, and he showed out in the national title as well. He's a player. So I don't know what everyone is missing, or I don't know what everyone sees that he's falling so much. Bobby gave us insight on that too, but I think it's just foolish. I think Fields ends up in the teens. I'll reveal where he goes in my mock draft, but he's sliding. He's going to be the one that the camera's on the whole night. When's Fields going to get drafted? It's just foolish.
Oof. Wow. So 5 in the first. It's tough. Without predicting any trades, it's just foolish. But Bobby did report that the Patriots are linked to Fields, which
and talking to Carolina too about that pick.
Exactly. So if that's a real thing, then I think just foolish. I don't think 5 in the first 8 happens. I don't think it happens. I don't think so. I'm going just foolish.
It's crazy because I think we did something similar last week or the week before, and I was justified. Like that's a lock, but I can't say it anymore. Things changed. Crazy how things change.
Yeah.
But I want to flip it around for you here. So the Heisman winner, Devonte Smith. There's a huge deal going around. He was just on Club Shay Shay with Shannon Sharp. And the big topic was, you only weighed in at 160 pounds. How's this going to work in the NFL? The justified or just foolish statement is, Devonte Smith will fall out of the top 15 picks. Justified or just foolish?
It's
a tough one.
I have him on my board as the 3rd best wide receiver. Top 15. I'm going to say just foolish. I think he makes it into the top 15. I don't think he slips past 12 with Philly. Obviously, Chase and Waddle, I think, head this class, but I don't think he makes it past 12. So I'm going to say it's just foolish for the Heisman winner. He won't be waiting too long.
Yeah. I'm right with you in lockstep. He's going to get picked by 11th or 12th. This is just foolish. He's not going to slip too far. He put on too much good tape. He's been too good of a football player throughout the years. And there's been players who maybe are listed at a higher weight than 160 that probably weigh the same amount as Devonte Smith and still get the job done, like a Deshaun Jackson or a Santana Moss back in the day. There's people that are tinier players that have gotten it done on the outside. Will he get bumped off his routes? The game's more physical, of course, but I think he'll have a chance to succeed, and I think either New York Giants or Philly jump on him 11th or 12th.
Yeah, I don't see any. I don't see him falling past 12.
Too good of a player.
So we were just talking about trades.
Mm-hmm.
2 trades in the top 10. Justified, just foolish.
So that would mean over under at 1.5.
Essentially.
It's justified that there'll be 2 trades in the top 10. Our mock doesn't have any, but I think Detroit's a candidate to trade down, get more picks, and reload their team a bit. I think Carolina is another potential team. And then I already said it in our opening intro here. Denver's going to trade out. I really am heart set on that. So those 3 teams could. I think Carolina and Denver are definites. And don't sleep on Miami. Miami may trade out too. I think a trade is, trades are going to be happening either, 10 minutes before the draft or while teams are on the clock. The groundwork is laid out. Teams have been in contact with each other about those picks.
Yeah, so I'm going to agree here. Last year there weren't really trades, COVID, nothing live. This year it's a little different. There'll be a little more contact going on as far as communication, and I think there's going to be some more picks. Dolphins, I think they're a dark horse. They're kind of sitting at 6, and everyone says they need a weapon, a wide receiver, and they'll probably get their choice at that point outside of maybe Kyle Pitts. But I don't know. They could slide back and get a lot for someone who maybe want one of these quarterbacks. So I like the Dolphins potentially moving out. So I think it's justified. I think there is going to be 2 trades this year.
Yeah. We're in agreement right there.
Yeah. So back to our quarterbacks. The first 4 picks of the draft will all be quarterbacks. Justified, just foolish.
This one's tough too, because I think I changed my mind with this one over the past week or so as well. I really thought that Atlanta was thinking about Fields at 4 or Lance. Now I just don't see it. So I say just foolish. The first 4 picks will not be quarterbacks. Kyle Pitts has just stunned everyone with how good of a prospect he is. He's going to be picked 4th to Atlanta, I think. There's no point in them moving off of Matt Ryan. There's no point in them drafting a backup for a year and a half, 2 years. I think they go with Kyle Pitts. So that would make that just foolish. No 4 quarterbacks. Only 3.
Yeah. So, and Bobby pretty much confirmed that. I mean, he said they're looking at, to deal potentially Julio Jones, draft a replacement weapon as far as Kyle Pitts. You can't really move off Matt Ryan yet. He's owed a ton of money. So you're kind of stuck with him for at least another year. You're not going to sit a quarterback for the next year, I don't think. Not in today's NFL.
Mm-hmm.
So, unless they want to move out of the pick for someone who is fully invested in Fields or Lance, I don't know. I say Pitts goes 4 as well.
Right.
So that's going to be just foolish for me.
Gotcha. All right. Last topic here. I'll spin it
Mm-hmm.
around to you. It is the first defensive player selected, which it's been headlined with offensive players really this year. So the first defensive player selected will be Micah Parsons. Justified or just foolish?
I'm going just foolish. I think the first 9 players in the draft, if there's no trades, the first 9 players in the draft are all offensive players. And I think the first defensive player gets taken at 10 to Dallas, and that's going to be a cornerback. Patrick Surtain, they're going to pair him back with Diggs, and they're going to create a nice little duo there at 10. So I say Parsons is not the first defensive player taken. I'm going Patrick Surtain, who I don't think is the best cornerback in the draft, but I think Dallas is fully locked in on Patrick Surtain at 10.
Okay. So I am also going to go with just foolish. Parsons is probably the best defensive player, in my opinion. He's going to be a very good pro. It's just the need for corners in this league outweighs the need for linebackers in this league.
Yeah.
So it's, it's going to be Surtain, I think, like you said, or it could be J.C. Horn. Both of those corners have a really good case to be the top one taken. But I have to stick with Just Foolish on that one because I don't think there's a need for a linebacker in the top 10 at all. Would people love to have Parsons? Yeah. But are they going to jump for him top 10 pick? I don't think so. I really don't.
If he falls a little bit, is that someone our Jets can go get?
Hey, I would love for the Jets to go and trade up for him. Just a quick note, Connor Hughes, who covers the Jets, and does a bunch of work with them, he said this week on his podcast that the Notre Dame linebacker, Owusu Koromoa, is basically Jamal Adams without the armbands. Tell me that's not a shot.
That's...
Well, yeah, he said he's a great coverage linebacker, could play the same position but better. He was just going off and taking a dump on Adams at the same time. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Look, I love Jamal Adams. I didn't love his exit with the Jets. But we'll see. I mean, this draft is big on what the Jets do. I mean, this is Jamal Adams right here. This. What are you getting? This is what you're getting for Jamal Adams. So you got to make it right here.
That's exactly right. You said it right. But without further ado, on the other end of this break, we have the mock draft. We are going to compare the first 20 picks of the draft. We'll go back and forth. We'll do it quick draw style. And after the 20 picks, we'll give you what we missed and what's notable for the last 12 of the first round. Keep it locked. This is the Brothers and Ball podcast. Welcome back, Brothers and Ball podcast. This officially marks the end of mock draft season. It's the last one we're going to put together. We're going to go back and forth with what me and Mike each think of what's going to happen in the first round this year. So we can get it started. I mean, the first 3 picks, we kind of know what's going to happen here just by looking at Vegas odds, listening to coaches, and what's going to happen here. So Lawrence to Jacksonville has been a thing for about half a year now, since the Jets won their second game in LA versus the Rams. We knew that Jacksonville was going to get Trevor Lawrence. We don't have to spend much time there. Zach Wilson, in turn, is going to be a Jet with the second pick. And we can move straight through the third pick as well. Mac Jones is going to go to San Fran. We heard Bobby Thompson say it earlier. So, Mike, I want to turn it over to you. With the 4th pick, the draft officially starts. Kyle, you tell me who's going to get picked by the Atlanta Falcons. Almost ruined it.
Nah, you didn't ruin it. This is a lock. I think 2 weeks ago you mentioned, you thought maybe they'd go quarterback. There's no shot. They're going Kyle Pitts at 4. I've thought that all along. And if they don't go Kyle Pitts at 4, I think someone's going to move up. Kyle Pitts is going 4th, and Bobby reassured me of that. So Pitts for Atlanta.
That's right. I'm not going to waste much time on it either. They're going to draft another weapon, possibly trade Julio. We unpacked that a little bit earlier on here. So Pitts is going to go 4. I'll start with who I have going to Cincinnati 5th. It's the Burrow and Jamar Chase reunion. They're going to take Jamar Chase. They're going to go with the pick outside. They could use an offensive lineman. Joe Burrow, blew his knee up last year, but they're not going to turn away from Jamar Chase. The guy's a freak, and possibly the best wide receiver prospect we've had in about 10 years or so, probably since Megatron. So I'll go with Jamar Chase going 5th to Cincinnati.
All right, so I got 6th with Miami. You took Chase. I mean, I think Cincinnati's a lineman. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, you want to keep Burrow upright, and you take Jamar Chase. Yeah. With no trades, you got to go wide receiver Jalen Waddle to Miami. You need the weapon.
Right. So Jalen Waddle ends up as a Dolphin there at 6.
Mm-hmm. So now you got Detroit at 7.
Right. I mean, at that point, all the weapons that Detroit would be looking at are gone because they need a wide receiver pretty bad.
Yeah, they lost
So,
Galladay.
yeah.
And Marvin Jones.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess I would have to lean towards Devonte Smith, even though it's a little bit early for him. They need a wide receiver.
3 in a row.
The only other thing I can see him doing is going with a corner, but I don't think they're going to do it with no trades, like you said, in our mock draft here.
And that'd be 2 years in a row, right?
Exactly, because they got
Okuda.
Jeffrey Okuda last year. Exactly. So I
They took him at 3. They took him
Smith.
high.
Yep, back-to-back Alabama wideouts.
Oof. All right, so we're at Carolina.
Right.
Yeah, so they're going to do what the Jets didn't do, and they're going to protect that asset they have at quarterback. I'm taking Penei Sewell at 8 to Carolina.
Good selection. Denver's up with 9th pick. So that means I already foreshadowed it. I don't even know if they're going to be even picking in this spot, but say that they are. They're going to take Patrick Surtain. They're going to pick the first defensive player off the board. They're going to get a lockdown corner for the outside and try and reset that defense a little bit with some older players on the way out. So they take Patrick Surtain the second at the Mile High City.
All right, so Surtain goes 9 to Denver.
Mm-hmm.
So that puts me on the clock with Dallas at 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're taking a corner. You took Surtain, who they've been heavily linked to. I'm going to go with the next corner. I'm taking J.C. Horn at 10 to Dallas. They're taking a corner. You can book that. Dallas is taking a corner.
Okay. I think Dallas is a lock for a corner as well. So moving on to another NFC East team, New York Giants. Part of me wants to take the logical pick in Rashawn Slater. And if I was the GM, that's what I would do. But since Gettleman's going to want to make a splash, he's going to go get Micah Parsons. Big playmaker, someone who's going to make some things happen defensively. Pair him with Blake Martinez, who had a good year last year for them, and try and solidify the middle of their defense. Gettleman's trying to make moves to not lose his job. And he already, he needs something. The offensive line's not going to make anyone turn their head. So, Micah Parsons, 11.
He lost his job when he decided to draft Daniel Jones, but that's a different discussion for another day. So we're at the Chargers. In my full mock, I had him taking.
Eagles. Don't forget the Eagles.
Oh, you took the Giants. So I'm at 12. Okay, never mind. I'm at 12 to Philly. And you got all my weapons.
Yeah, they're looking for a weapon for sure.
They need a weapon, and now, it'd be a reach to take one now. Oof, a lot of good linemen left. I'm going Slater. If Slater falls that far, he's going. They're not passing on Slater at 12. Rashawn Slater, Northwestern, pick 12.
Yes, sir. So, bringing the Chargers up at 13. I mentioned him in the last segment there before the break. Owusu Koromoa from Notre Dame, linebacker, really good coverage guy. Pair him with some of the other young studs on the defense. And, Chargers are going to try and load up there. If they don't have an option there at linebacker, they'll probably go offensive line. But I say they go with the playmaking linebacker, safety hybrid there from Notre Dame.
All right, so that gives me Minnesota, right, at 14?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy. So they're going to go linemen for sure. Me personally, they could use a quarterback, and the way this is falling, we still have 2 of them left, yeah?
Yep.
But I think Minnesota goes linemen. Initially, I had Vera Tucker going there, but I'm going Christian Darrisaw, 14.
Okay.
To the Minnesota Vikings.
Gotcha. All right, so if this turns out how this turns out, and no trades are made, especially on New England's part, and they have a chance to pick from Fields or Lance, I think Bill Belichick would have to jump on it. Even though I know I said earlier it would be just foolish for them to take a quarterback in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
They would have to do it at this point. And I think the
Yes.
quarterback of choice would be Trey Lance. He
Oh,
can fit
no.
that Cam Newton mold a little bit more. And they can try, he can turn him into exactly what he needs in New England. The runner, the guy who's good above the shoulders, can make the pre-play reads, can work with a sophisticated offense. So they'd be able to do some things with Trey Lance. I think they end up taking Trey Lance if he's there for them at 15 without much hesitation.
That'd be nice. I mean, he could sit behind Cam.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds good. I just don't think there's no way these quarterbacks last this long. No way.
Yeah, no shot.
No way. So
A
we're at
trade would have
16.
happened to get him, get them
Oh
taken.
yeah. Oh yeah. So we're at 16 with Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm going with Vera Tucker from USC to Arizona. They're going to protect Kyler Murray. They added their guys. They got AJ Green now on the opposite of DeAndre Hopkins, right? They signed who did they sign? They signed a running back.
James Conner.
Yeah, so they got Connor to go with Kenyon Drake. They're
Well, Drake's on the Raiders now.
oh my God. So Connor's their main guy?
Yeah. And they still have Chase Edmonds. The two of them probably split some work.
All right, yeah, Vera Tucker's the pick there at 16.
Kyler Murray even came out and said this week that, I think I should be involved in the draft process. Who we get, you should at least ask my opinion. I think every
He's a
team should do
player,
that with
Kyler
a
Murray,
franchise
too.
QB.
Yeah, and he's proven he is a franchise quarterback. He's no Baker Mayfield. This guy can play.
Oh, the Baker Mayfield shade.
Yeah, big time.
All right, let's move forward. 17th, Las Vegas Raiders. John Gruden. I think they're going to take Newsome the second. A cornerback, play some defense. They took a cornerback in the first round last year as well. He was a bit underwhelming, to say the least. So I think they're going to try and solidify things on that side of the ball. I really don't see any playmakers for them to jump out and get, especially after reaching for Henry Ruggs as well last year. So Gruden and company are going to go with the less flashy pick and try and get a really productive player for this year so that they can really put themselves on the map this year.
Mm-hmm. Vegas is a team to watch. They do things a little bit differently over there.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you see a name called at that position that, we haven't talked about, do not be surprised.
Yep.
All right, so I got 18 Miami, right? And I had them taking Waddle at 6 because you took Chase at 5. So they're going to go defense. There's no wide receiver. I'm going Aguilar from Georgia at 18 to Miami. He's going to fit Brian Flores' defense fantastically.
Mm-hmm. And missing out on Van Noy. He got cut this year for salary cap reasons. So I think that's a good fit as well. Aguilar is a really good player. Now, 19th, I got two guys that would be on the Washington football team's radar.
Oh, boy.
And at this point, he slid too far. You have to take Justin Fields.
Yes. Absolutely.
To sit behind Ryan Fitzpatrick if you want to, or if he blows the whole room away, then he's going to have to be the starter. But he's too good to be selected 19th. And if he doesn't get selected 19th, he'll go 20th to Chicago Bears if he's even left at that point. But the other guy I was going to say at that point was Trayvon Merrick, safety, first safety off the board. The football team would have a lethal defense with a playmaker like that in the defensive backfield. But
him and Landon Collins in the back, it's a little scary.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but Justin Fields would be a Washington football team member within a minute of the clock starting on draft night.
If he's left.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Chicago at pick 20. Chicago needs a lineman. I can't believe they're going Andy Dalton this year. Looking at my quick board here. I'm going offensive line. Right? We've went through everybody. Let's see. They don't need a running back. The wide receivers are fine. I'm going lineman. Tevin Jenkins at 20 to the Bears. They need line help, so he's your best one available at this point. So that's where they go. I mean, you got a lot of good guys here. Kadarius Toney. They don't need a wide receiver. You got Harris, running back. You don't need a running back.
Nope.
ETN, running back. I don't know. I think everything else would be a reach. I'm looking at DNs here. You got the two guys from Miami. You got Khalil Mack. No, I'm going lineman Tevin Jenkins.
All right.
At 20.
So with that, that's our top 20. I mean, we ran through that, and with trades, of course, it's going to shake out a little bit different because there's going to be maybe 3 or 4 in the top 20 at least. So we'll see how it all turns out. But I do want to, throw some reaction here back at, this top 20 that we just came up with. So not to speculate, trades too much, but I wouldn't be shocked if Dallas goes up to try and get Pitts. If Atlanta is blown away by an offer, they may do it. And I know we alluded to it. You said Miami's a sleeper to trade their pick. They had no problem trading down from 3 to 6. They knew that they weren't going to take a quarterback at 3. They'll have a chance to get somebody at 6. They could do the same thing when they get the draft board and see how it looks and how it shakes out. So I could see them moving down to the teens. It's just
they could.
I see a couple more corners than we had. I know we had 3 corners, but perhaps Farley goes. I know there's some concern about him. He actually just tested positive for COVID. So
we'll see. But even before that, they said there were some concerns about, I don't know,
his injury history, right?
Yeah, he's got some history there.
I
don't know. There's a couple of guys that got sliding to 20. I mean, you got Fields and Lance, who I don't think drop as far as we have them dropping. No shot. You had Morig high.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's
only
good.
Worthwhile safety to even mention in the first round. Like, if another safety goes in the first round, I'm scratching my head.
Yeah. We'll see. I'm hoping Harris falls to the Jets at 23.
Yeah. I hope they're willing to take him.
There's a couple of guys. There's some weapons. Kadarius Toney, Elijah Moore, and Rondell Moore. All 3 of those guys could slide in here at some point. They're going to be elite weapons in the NFL. I mean, Toney's got speed that, we haven't seen in a while. Same thing with Rondell Moore. And everything I'm reading is Elijah Moore is the 4th best wide receiver on the board behind the 3 we have in there. Chase, Waddle, and Smith. So we'll see. And Bateman looks like a first-round wide receiver. So we should have a lot of weapons here going in the first round.
Yeah. The one thing I noticed about our top 20 as well, it's really lacking in, like, edge rushers, pass rushers.
Yeah.
From Michigan, Kwity Paye is going to be someone who could easily be in the top 20 because everyone needs a pass rusher, whether or not they want to admit it. Everyone could use one. So, the 2 guys from Miami, like you said, Phillips and Russo could easily also slip into that top 20. So it all depends on your preference. You pick who you want, and it should be really interesting to see how it shakes out with the draft. I mean, I'm
For
very,
sure.
very excited.
Yeah, you ready for tomorrow?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, I'm ready for tomorrow.
Yeah.
I wanna
Father-in-law's
see
a
some
Cowboys
moves.
fan, so I'm ready.
Yeah.
He's excited.
Oh, there you go.
He's
Yeah, I
excited.
mean, when's the last time Dallas was in the top 10 when they were picking Zeke?
Yeah, they picked Zeke, and they made a mistake then. They should have took Ramsey.
Haha.
But that's also a discussion for another day.
Well, that wraps it up here for the Brothers in Ball podcast, the NFL Draft Edition. Like I said, mock draft season is officially finished, and I can't wait to see how it shakes out. Well, you got words for the people, Mike, here before we send it off?
Keep an eye on my Jets. I know we're taking Wilson at 2. I hope they get a weapon with the next pick. Just stay tuned to my Jets. I'm focused on my guys tomorrow.
That's right. You and me both. You and me both. That's the Brothers in Ball podcast. Thank you for listening. We will catch you guys next week with some great draft reaction. Thanks again to Bobby Thompson for stopping by. This is the Brothers in Ball podcast.